Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Winnipeg Jets Postgame Show presented by Budweiser. I'm Sara Orlesky. It was a 3-2 Jets win tonight over the Calgary Flames, making it 3 consecutive wins for the Jets now as they continue to rack up the points in this first game of the new year. This is the second of 3 meetings this season between the Flames and Jets. The last time they met back November 12th in Calgary. That too was a 3-2 final. The Flames winning that one though. The Jets returning the favor tonight. They will play one more time later on this season. Let's take a look at the highlight of the night as we get things kicked off here. It happened in the third period. It was a 3-goal third period. This is the one though that gave the Jets the lead. It was Josh Morrissey as he continues to rack up the points as well. He extends his point streak now to 9 when it comes to home games. Kyle Connor with the assist. He also has 9 consecutive home games with a point, the franchise record for the longest home point streak. Nikolai Ehlers, who had 12 games.
What a goal.
What a goal. What a goal. What a post-game show we're about to have. Happy to have Trevor Kidd join me here. A lot to talk about in this game. We will obviously, as always, take you into the room. We are expecting Connor Hellebuyck to join us shortly on set as well. Trevor, we talked about, you and I were sitting up there watching in that first period. I mean, not a lot of action. They got
some bit of a sleeper, yeah.
Yeah, but the Flames certainly pressed in the final seconds of that period. But for the Jets to be able, in another tight game, to come up with the win and how they did it, how important is this for this group?
You said racking up the points. And I mean, a little bit when you look at the lineup here tonight, if you're a Jets fan, for sure you had troubles trying to figure out the lineup. Because again, and I asked you early in that first period, am I missing something here? And you said it was the 11 and 7, right? The 11 forwards, 7D, and they mixed a bit of the lines up throughout. And racking up the points, but let's just talk, finding a way to win hockey games. And certainly Connor Hellebuyck is a big part of what they're doing here right now. And you talk about with these injuries and how they're managing to get points. And certainly you look at that goal and Dubois in on it, Scheifele's in on it, Kyle Connor's in on it. So the Winnipeg Jets players, the ones that they do have in the lineup, are continuing to be their best players, as well as Connor Hellebuyck. But when you start looking at some of the periphery, some of that depth, boy, they are finding ways to win hockey games right now.
Yeah, and it isn't always pretty, but when you have Connor Hellebuyck back there and you have him playing the way that he is, we saw him, he was termed to be exceptional by Rick Bowness and Kyle Connor in that game against Edmonton on New Year's Eve, in which they came out with the win, and then some key saves again here, some huge ones. But let's start, I mean, you mentioned right there that there was a little bit of confusion when we were watching going, well, why are some of these minutes off the way that they were? 11 and 7 was the way that Rick Bowness decided to go with the roster tonight. It was a bit of a surprise. We thought that maybe Kyle Capobianco was going to be a healthy scratch, and then he was in the lineup and Michael Eyssimont was not. We don't know if that's because there had been some questions about Josh Morrissey's health, and so whether or not that perhaps played a role in it. We will see whether
is in a bit of a flu bug, correct?
Yeah,
yes.
And so we'll see whether or not that plays any role, and if Rick Bowness is asked about that when he speaks to the media.
Eyesight was good on that goal.
That's not what he's
all that
dealing
matters,
with. That's
right?
all that matters on that one. So, but when we look at this this game in general for it, the finding the way to win, let's talk about Connor Hellebuyck, who continues to lead the way. I mean, I mentioned the exceptional part. There is a save in particular. I mean, he had a number of them, but there is that one on Mackenzie Weegar that to me was just classic Hellebuyck. I don't know if we can pull it up for you right now so that you can take a look at it, but this to me, a beauty of a save, and when you're looking at it tied, we're still waiting for our first goal of the game. A massive save.
You know what I like about that is a lot of times Connor Hellebuyck, especially this year, he's almost looked big and boring in there. And when I say big and boring, it's because his positioning is so good. And there's been a lot of talk. I've certainly talked to Wade Flaherty about it, what he's worked on in the summer to be quicker, working on a lot of his skating to put himself in better positions. You almost forget at times how athletic he is. And that's what I love about that save there, is it just shows his athleticism when called upon. He can do the splits better than anybody in the National Hockey League. And it was a great save at a great time. He had a few of them. Certainly that one was the best, but he was sharp tonight.
Yeah, and you look, the first goal for the Jets coming off of the stick of Brendan Dillon, he was tipped it in front. You look at Dylan DeMello with the shot from the point for it. And I saw some people on Twitter, it was great. If you had Dylan DeMello, Brendan
There's no way
Dillon
you'd
as the
predict
first
that,
goal, you
right.
would never have predicted it. Could have made a fortune if that was what.
Well, the middle part of the ice in the first period was a real this was a playoff type hockey game here tonight. 3-2 is the final. But the middle part of the ice for both teams, certainly on the power play as well, especially teams were the middle part of the ice was so hard to find in this hockey game. A little bit more for the Winnipeg Jets, and when all you're being given is the perimeter type plays, what do you got to do? You got to take the eyes away from the goaltender, or you got to get some redirects, you got to get some tips. And you saw that there on that first goal. Again, you wouldn't have predicted the two players that would have been in on it, but you also saw it on the game-winning goal with Hainel and Gagne, right?
Yeah.
There's a great, what I liked about that, the last goal with Hainel, like starting to show just maybe a little bit of confidence. And is this it here?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. What I love about it is a little bit of confidence with Ville Heinola and just having the vision, having the confidence to one-time that puck, not to corral it, to get rid of it. And that was a hard shot for Gagne to somehow find a piece of that thing. That's coming in pretty hard. So a great job. Again, the middle part of the ice was so hard to find on those two goals specifically. Simple point shots with the redirect in front of the net.
And we'll take a little bit more time to dissect it in a moment, but we want to head right into the Winnipeg Jets dressing room and hear from Sam Gagne.
Keep guys away from our net, tie up sticks, and then getting to their cage. I thought we did a pretty good job of getting low to high when we were able to establish some pressure, and then you got to get to the net and find ways to create chances.
Was this about as well executed a game, like in terms of game plan styles that you can think of in recent weeks? Sam?
Yeah, I mean, there's certain parts of our game we need to clean up for sure, but yeah, I thought the plan was great. Some of the execution, different things that we're going to work on, and we have some practice time to be able to do that, so that's great. But that's a team that's chasing us in the standings, and we want to stay ahead of them, and we want to keep climbing, so important win for us.
How popular will the goal, Brendan's goal, resonate in this room, considering that they do so much of the heavy lifting on defense? For them to light the lamp, it's...
Yeah, well, it's awesome. I can't say enough good things about Dilly and what he brings to our group. His energy, his compete, the way he battles. So for him to get one, it's great for our group, and nice to come in and win for sure.
As promised, Connor Hellebuck joining me here now. Connor, a big 2 points for his team as you guys start off 2023 on a winning note, third consecutive game in which you guys grabbed 2 points as well. For you, when you look back on this game, what is it that stands out to you most?
I think everyone was blocking shots and playing hard in our end. We were patient. We were patient with the game. We knew that's the type of game it was going to need to be, and that's the way we played.
When you look at the Flames team, we know that they are a high volume shot. I think that they have more games with 30-plus shots than any other team right now in the NHL this season. For you as a goaltender, what is it that you need to be most aware of with a team like that?
You just got to make sure you're controlling your rebounds, and any puck that hits you, it goes where you want it to go, or where there's no pressure. And that's what the guys in front of me are great. I can see pucks, and when one gets away from me, they're all over it. So, it's a great team effort tonight.
How do you describe the communication that's going on between you and your defenseman in front of you?
Oh, it's just great. We're talking all the time, and I think we're on that chemistry where we just know what each other wants, and then just a little word here and there, and that's all we need. So I think we're firing on all cylinders right now.
You've been in the zone regardless of whether or not it's here at Canada Life Center or on the road, but your numbers going into this game at home in front of me, 11-5, a 187 goals against average, 938 save percentage. What is it about playing in this building that you think is just has been able to help lead to some of the success that you've had this season?
Well, I think the crowd's great. The crowd gets into it and it fires us up, gets us the momentum, and then not only that, we've been playing really good at home. We've been playing good defensive hockey, and it all adds up.
And finally, there are a number of great saves that you had tonight. We showed the one on Mackenzie Weegar just a short while ago, but if we can see it again, for it is take it through. Can you describe for me what's going on in your mind right now?
On that play, I was extra patient on the guy in the middle, and I saw he pull it to his backhand. He's a passer, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw someone was open, so I kind of knew that was a possibility, and the rest is history.
There you go. You got to like it. Thank you so much, Connor. Really appreciate it anytime you stop by to join us. Let's take a look at what the next 4 games are for the Winnipeg Jets coming up, or their homestand continues. It is a 3-game homestand. Tampa Bay in town on Friday, and then on Sunday it is an afternoon game. Make sure that you take note of the time. At 2 p.m. start, Vancouver Canucks in town again. We have seen a lot of the Canucks of late. Before the Jets head out, they will play then 8 of 9 on the road. Let's head back into the Jets dressing room and hear from Brendan Dillon.
We had bodies there. It was nice, all the D union chipping in tonight. So obviously nice to get the win at the end of the day, and yeah, move on to the next one.
Second intermission, Dylan was talking with us, and he said that it was just like the way you drew it up, D to D. I don't know if he's being facetious because you're laterally along the blue line, but knowing how you guys like to activate, is D to D, low to high, or high to low actually in the game plan that you guys are encouraged to do that too?
Yeah, I mean, our angles were a little off there from the normal blue line side to side, and I mean, we just kind of made an ozone play. Scheif was covering high. I dropped it off to him and knew he was covering for me, so kind of felt free to go to the net. And again, just a great shot by Mel. Kind of pucks and bodies going there, and I was happy to have it going.
What did it hit? Hands?
Hands, yeah. Big butt.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
You've partnered with Billy for a few games since his latest call-up now. Brendan, what have you observed in his growth in this latest assignment coming up here?
Oh, Billy's been great. I think for him, just kind of getting that confidence to do what he does best. He creates plays. He's one of those slippery, creative defensemen, and kind of that new wave that can create offense from the back end. And I think for him and I we're a good chemistry, good combo where we've, I try to open up some space for him and let him do his thing, get him the puck, and obviously first and foremost we got to take care of the D zone. So, again, I think we've been getting better and better. We've kind of had the bingo balls going with the 7 of us tonight, but ultimately really, really happy for him to be getting better and better every game.
Do you find that his decision making is becoming more natural, like at NHL speed now, whether it's offensive or defensive?
Yeah, I think it's tough as a young player. You want to make that highlight reel, super high end play. When I think just being simple is kind of going to play to the NHL's strengths. Teams defend so well, wingers, and it's just so hard to get pucks in through to the net and in general. So obviously he's got someone in JMO who he's able to watch and see how his game's elevated. And again, Rome wasn't built in a day. It's JMO's gotten better and better over whatever year this is for him now 7 or 8. And I think for Billy, from just game to game and gaining that confidence, I feel like when we're breaking out well, we're creating even more offense. And for him, just seeming to grow every shift.
We talked about the importance of maybe going from 24 to 40 goals from the defense. I think today was your 19th. I think, where do you feel like your guys are at in terms of the generating and what you've been able to get from the back end?
Yeah, I think just we're simplifying it. It's just getting pucks there. It's not like of course Josh has made some highlight reel ones, and those are obviously fantastic, but I think a lot, for the most part, are just getting there. Our forwards are doing a better job. They're trusting us to get that puck to the net, and therefore they're going there and they're getting tips, rebounds, and of course when we're able to get them to cross the goal line, we're super happy, but just happy to get the goals in general.
Brendan, in retrospect, before these last 3 games, what kind of sense of urgency did you see in this team, not only to put an end to that 2-game losing streak, but to get some wins against some teams who were chasing you in the standings? And had you lost these games, the outcome would look a lot different.
100%. We're almost at the halfway mark, and we know the position we put ourselves in, that teams are chasing us. We're expecting their best now. It's not like we're surprising teams and they're thinking, oh, we're going to come in and it's going to be an all right game. It's going to be a tough game against the Jets. And all these teams, tonight's a perfect example. A team that's been talked about in the Stanley Cup conversation, made some big changes this offseason, and is a tough defensive and strong offensive team altogether. So we knew it was going to be a good test, and especially these last few. A tough building in Edmonton with the best player in the world, and I think collectively it's not just been 1 or 2 lines. It's kind of been 5 guys that have been on the ice, understanding the role they're doing, and of course the injuries and these types of things, schedule, whatever you want to call it. We're not using any of those for excuses.
I could ask you about Connor Hellebuck's pad save a few minutes just before your first goal.
Yeah, Helly, what more can we say? I mean, it's almost like we just expect him to be absolutely exceptional every night. We're really lucky here with the Jets to have him. I mean, he had the 2-on-1 and the power play that's a game momentum changer. He's had a few that just he picks up our bench when we need a save or a turning point like that, and for us to be able to get some run support for him, it feels nice to kind of reward him after how well he's been playing.
Number of comments from Brendan Dillon. He scored the first goal of the season for him as well. One of the things that he spoke about, and we'll talk about the confidence of some of the young blue liners like Ville Heinola, but just that he was asked about the production of the blue line. That was something that Rick Bowness really emphasized in training camp. He wanted to see more scoring, more production from his defensemen, and he has so far. Going into this game, they are tied for 4th in the league behind the Sharks, Golden Knights, Panthers, and tied with the Rangers when you look at the production that they've been able to get. Key, Josh Morrissey obviously leading the way for them in that department as well. But one comment that he made, partnered up with Ville Heinola, that you thought was interesting, was talking about a confidence factor.
Yeah, and as I said just prior to that, it was noticeable tonight. And so much of, I think, Ville Heinola in the last handful of games that he's had, you're looking at him to not make a mistake. And to me, that's a little bit been how he looks in the game, is to how can I get through 60 minutes without making a mistake? Can I be almost invisible out there in regards to not making a mistake? And just over the last couple of games, you're starting to see him be a little bit more assertive on the offensive side, because everybody makes that comparison to Josh Morrissey. And I think a lot of the expectations are that same trajectory as Josh Morrissey and how he has developed. And certainly, yes, it's a blessing to have Josh Morrissey if you're Ville Heinola to watch every day, not only in games, but certainly in practices. But that confidence has to come within. And it's been nice to see, and I mentioned that goal, to have that confidence, to have that vision, to have that read. And a big part of, you mentioned Josh Morrissey, it's not one singular item that Josh Morrissey is, one of the top defensemen in the league in regards to scoring. Part of that is his reads, one of those items, and his reads have been very good on the offensive side. And that specific play with a young defenseman, Ville Heinola, starting to find his confidence, a good read to one-time that puck, realizing he had Gagne in front with the potential tip.
Well, and to see his confidence grow, and then the confidence of the coaching staff in him as well. I think this Jets team, for all of the injuries, and we have spent, I feel like, every post-game talking about injuries, they are, knock on wood, getting healthier, and as early as Friday. I mean, we could see Nate Schmidt on the blue line. Right. We could see Cole Perfetti, possibly Nikolai Ehlers back in the lineup as well. So they are about to get a number of healthy players returning. So those players that have been called up, or that are those bubble players, certainly need to be able to make an impact and show the coaching staff that they can have confidence
that I want
to
stay.
Absolutely.
Right? That I deserve to stay and make. That's all you want to do, is make that decision for management, but more importantly for the coaching staff. Make it super tough. Make it like they're going to lose sleep over pulling me out of the lineup. That's what you want to do. And certainly, I mean, you look around that lineup, you look around at the depth. Some of the players that we're talking about here, Sandberg and Heinola on the back, like it's going to be tough to pull those guys out of the lineup because of how well they're playing, how hard they're battling right now with this schedule and the injuries that the Winnipeg Jets have.
Yeah, you look at the 2 points as well that the Jets were able to get, hopefully trying to close that gap with the Dallas Stars, who are in action currently. The Stars currently leading the Jets in the Central Division by 5 points, so every point very important.
Well, and looking at the signing, every point is important, and it's important for the Jets to, and Dylan mentions it, there's teams that are chasing them. Like, yes, they're the hunted, right? And it's good to have that perspective. Okay, we're gonna hunt also the Dallas Stars. But what's interesting, the Jets are on a 3-game winning streak. If that is a 3-game losing streak or a 5-game losing streak, how quick you can fall out of the last year's Stanley Cup champions are sitting out of the playoffs as a Central Division team. Yeah. The St. Louis Blues are the same, right? And so those teams are, like, the month of January is huge what they've done to this point with the injuries and the depth and everything else in the lineup, but to have those healthy bodies starting to come back into the lineup with the schedule to what that break is at the end of January is huge.
We'll get more into the schedule in just a moment, but let's head over into the Matt Frost Media Center and hear from head coach Rick Bowness.
Consistently as you do like that?
Well, we've put a lot of focus from training camp on about getting our D a lot more involved, as you know. The way the league is played today, and you saw a perfect example of it tonight, there's 5 guys around the net. And it's tough to make cute little plays in there. It really is. So the only way to get them to move is to get the puck back to your defense. Then somebody has to come out a little bit, and which opens up a little more space around the net. And in that, saying that, you've got to have somebody at the net to tip it, to be around, be a screen, get a rebound, whatever it is. So it's just a buy-in from the players that we've had from day one. Again, the focus has been our defense have to get a lot more involved, both on the rush and in the. Our forwards have to use them more, just to spread out the defense around the net. And tonight, I thought we weren't using them enough early, and then when we started to use them, and we started to put pucks at the net, and we got some goals from it. Fortunately, they don't always go in like that, but they went in for us tonight. But regardless if they go in or not, a shot will create a scramble. It's tough to generate a lot of low plays unless you get your defense involved, and then again, you got to have net presence.
Calgary made a decent push with the goaltender out, but didn't have a lot of time to do it because of that penalty taken. A direct result of that Stenlund line and the shift they took before that. Again, the buy-in you get from that, or the contribution that you get from that line, what does that say about this team at that time of the game? Yeah,
and that's, when you have a lead like that line has to go out and get the puck deep and get the forecheck and wear out behind the net if you have to. Just keep it in there and tire them out, wear them down a little bit, but that's their job. We got the lead, get that puck in deep, let's go to work on them, and they did a great job. But that's what we asked them to do, and they went out and did it. So.
Rick, what went into the decision to go 11-7 tonight?
Well, we weren't, Mo wasn't 100%, but there was other factors that I won't share with you, but there were other factors.
Rick, once Nate returns, if Billy is the one that has to go back to the Moose, what do you want him to take from this latest call-up to build upon?
We'll see what we do. Right, let's give that a day or two to see what we do with our defense. Listen, tonight was how we want him to play. Right, he was reliable defensively, but he was skating the puck, and he was using his mobility on the offensive blue line. He's looking to shoot more tonight. Like, we've just been after him to put the puck down, and sometimes you get nervous. You're trying to just make a play. So we want him to shoot the puck more and use those skills, and he did that tonight.
Do you find that his speed of decision making is becoming more instinctively in NHL?
Yeah, it's quicker. Yeah, and again, you got to play some games up here to get that pace, and that's what the intensity of the players up here and the quickness. And you've got to move your feet quicker. You got to make decisions quicker. Got to move the puck quicker. So it's been a better every game. Let's put it that way.
There's a phrase I've heard: the NHL is not a developmental league. But when a guy is learning to make those decisions at that speed, isn't it kind of like is that not what he needs to do? With
the injuries we've had, we're in development mode here with a few guys. So, the league is. It's more of that now. It's not so. It's still a development league because of the cap and the young players coming into the league, and you've got to help them learn how to play at this level. So I know that's a cliche, but the years have gone past, but not anymore. To me, there's a lot of young players in the league that need a lot of coaching.
And then only one more on the injury front. Is there any chance that maybe Jansen stays as insurance for a minute before being assigned? I know he's passed through waivers.
Yeah. We've got to make that decision tonight. Thanks.
As you heard right there, something we hadn't mentioned, Jansen Harkins had been placed on waivers. He did clear waivers, so we'll wait to see. There is no practice scheduled for the Winnipeg Jets tomorrow. They will next practice on Thursday before playing Tampa Bay on Friday. Right, when you listen to Rick talk about, I mean, some of the young players, we hear him talk about Heinola there as well, but also what I find interesting is when he said that with all the young players in the league right now, essentially the importance of coaching. A lot of coaching has to occur. And when you're watching their practices, that's exactly what happens. And you don't always think about it, or you don't always see it all the time. I find at the NHL level, there's a lot of coaching going on with this group.
Interesting comment, because you go back to the start of the year, when you talk about the Winnipeg Jets' best players, what did they talk about? They wanted to be pushed and they wanted to be more coached.
Yes.
Right? But we're talking about a different type of coaching here. And a lot of it, you start thinking about young players, it's a lot about the decision making, right? It's not turning the puck over, doing the right things at the blue lines, doing the right thing in regards to your 200-foot game, where you're not going to give up opportunities, and then how that turns into what can you create on the offensive side of the puck, as we saw here. And again, nice when the coach reiterates what we're talking about in regards to Ville Heinola, in regards to his confidence, shooting the puck more, the reads. Again, making those decisions tough, because they're going to, the Winnipeg Jets, we mentioned the management, coaching staff. You saw it here already with Jansen Harkins. They have some tough decisions coming back as the Winnipeg Jets get healthier.
Absolutely. All right, we've spoken so often about what a busy December it was. Turn the page on 2022. Let's look at January 2023. They start off, obviously, with the win here. Only 2 games in the first 7 days. 7 of the 15 games this month are at home. You look at that long road trip that they have going on in the middle section as they make their way through Eastern Canada and then down in Philadelphia and Nashville as well. But 7 out of 8 games in that middle stretch, all on the road. So not an easy month by any means for the Jets, but certainly a slower start.
What a crazy January, right?
Isn't it? And then you get into the player break and the All-Star break, which I think everybody is
We'll be
looking
for
forward
that
to.
deep breath. The end of January.
I think we all will be, Trevor, let's be honest. But before we get there, as mentioned, the Jets don't have practice tomorrow, but there is something going on. That would be the annual skills event. So great to be able to have this back after missing a couple of years because of COVID. Hardest shot, accuracy, fastest skater, just to mention a few of the challenges that they will compete in. That is, again, tomorrow night. You can get your tickets. Go on to the website for more information, starting at just $15 a ticket. And what is great about, what I do love about the skills competition for it, is that it's a fun night. They take out all of the glass around the board, so you have the opportunity to get a little bit more up close and personal, get autographs from the players.
Just don't expect Connor Hellebuyck to be doing anything in the pipes tomorrow night. You saw him there handing out hats. That's exactly what Connor Hellebuyck will be doing tomorrow night.
That's exactly what fans would want to see. He deserves it.
Maybe fishing, something like that. But,
absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that is it for us here. The Winnipeg Jets 3-2 winners over the Calgary Flames. Game-winning goal coming off the stick of Sam Gagner. A lot to continue to build on for this group as they improve. They are now, as I look, 14-6 at home. 8-4-1 against the Pacific Division. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. This has been the Winnipeg Jets Postgame Show presented by Budweiser.